Every hobby has myths, but motorcycling creates them faster than any other. These myths spread because survivors think their techniques save them, when really they just got lucky. Following this bad advice can actually make you less safe. Number 10. Loud pipes save lives. Your exhaust will make drivers notice you and stop cutting into your lane. Now, this sounds logical at first. If drivers can hear your loud exhaust, they'll notice you and stop cutting into your lane, right? Wrong. The famous Hurt Report, which studied thousands of motorcycle crashes, found no connection between loud exhausts and fewer accidents. In fact, that burst of noise hits car interiors from behind after you're already in danger. The Doppler effect means sound waves are compressed as you approach and stretched as you move away, making it nearly impossible for drivers to judge your position accurately based on exhaust noise alone. Modern cars are built like soundproof boxes. They have multiple layers of metal, special glass, and even active noise-canceling systems. When you're driving above 30 miles per hour, the wind noise around a car's front pillars is already 70 to 75 decibels. That's as loud as a hairdryer. This drowns out most sounds from outside, including your motorcycle. The only people who actually hear your loud pipes are pedestrians and cyclists that you startle as you pass by. Meanwhile, you're getting a false sense of security. When you think you're more visible because of your loud exhaust, you might skip the things that actually work. Things like wearing bright-colored gear, using a headlight that flashes, positioning yourself where drivers can see you in their mirrors, and timing your passes to spend less time in blind spots. Research shows that high-visibility gear increases detection distance by up to 25% compared to standard black leather. Even worse, many cities are now giving out tickets for loud motorcycles. That's money you could spend on better brakes or riding classes instead. So, here's a better rule. Bright lights and smart positioning save lives. LED lights aimed at the road ahead make your bike stand out from the background. And a reflective vest costs less than $40, but lights up like a beacon in headlights. Combine this with moving between the left and right tire tracks as you pass cars, and you'll be much safer than any loud pipe can make you. Number 9. If a crash is inevitable, lay the bike down. Sliding is safer than hitting something while upright. This terrible advice comes from the 1950s, when bikes had drum brakes that barely worked. Riders would actually slide their heavy motorcycles under cars to avoid hitting them directly. But modern disc brakes, sticky tires, and ABS make this technique deadly. Physics is simple here. When you're sliding on the ground, you have much less stopping power compared to keeping your tires upright and gripping the road. Adventure riding instructor Brett Tax calls it throwing away all of your control at the worst possible moment. The coefficient of friction between leather and asphalt is roughly 0.4, while a properly loaded tire can achieve 1.0 or higher. That means you can stop twice as fast upright. Studies of real street crashes prove this. Almost every story that starts with, "I had to lay her down," is actually a panic stop that locked the rear wheel, or a swerve that was tried too late. When you keep the bike upright, you can still steer and you can switch from braking to swerving if a gap opens up. The better approach is to get professional training on emergency braking. Practice it until it becomes automatic. If your bike doesn't have ABS, get it installed. Many manufacturers now offer retrofit kits. Even basic single-channel ABS can cut your stopping distance by 20% on wet roads. Your body will thank you for staying on the bike instead of sliding down the pavement. Number 8. Helmets snap your neck and reduce awareness. The extra weight and restricted vision make you less safe. Multiple scientific studies destroy the neck injury myth. The University of Wisconsin looked at over 1,000 crashes and found that riders wearing helmets were actually less likely to hurt their necks. This happens because the helmet spreads the impact force over a larger area compared to an unprotected head hitting something. As for the awareness argument, modern helmets give you more than 210 degrees of horizontal vision. Tests comparing helmeted and bareheaded riders show almost no difference in what they can see to the sides. Wait, Well, most full-face helmets weigh about 3 pounds, less than a bottle of water. Actually, helmets can improve your hearing. The wind noise hitting your bare head at highway speeds reaches 100 decibels. That's loud enough to damage your hearing permanently. Inside a helmet, it's much quieter, so you can actually hear sirens and car horns better. Professional motorcycle racers who spend hours at triple-digit speeds always wear helmets partly for hearing protection. Prolonged exposure to wind noise above 85 decibels can cause permanent hearing loss within minutes. A quiet, well-ventilated helmet also fights fatigue. You can ride for hours longer before your concentration starts to fade. This is why long-distance riding events like the Iron Butt Rally require full-face helmets. Number 7. Use too much front brake and you'll flip. Grabbing the front brake hard will send you over the handlebars. Now, for a motorcycle to flip end over end, the center of gravity has to rotate past the front wheel contact point. This only happens under race-level braking of about 1.2 G-forces with super sticky racing tires. Street tires on normal pavement rarely get more than 1 G before they start sliding. In government tests, 0 riders actually did a stoppie. However, 34% didn't use enough front brake and crashed into the obstacle they were trying to avoid. This fear comes from dirt bike riding, where loose surfaces punish grabby brake inputs. On pavement, your front tire can provide 70 to 90% of your total stopping power. If you're afraid to use it, you're massively increasing your crash energy. Professional brake manufacturers like Brembo design front systems to handle enormous loads specifically because that's where most stopping happens. The front brake caliper typically has 4 or 6 pistons compared to the rear single or dual piston setup. The safe technique is to apply the front brake smoothly but firmly. Keep your weight on the front pegs to help the rear wheel stay planted and let ABS handle any wheel lockups. Practice this in an empty parking lot at different speeds and feel for the point where the front forks compress fully. That's maximum weight transfer. Getting this into your muscle memory might save you when a delivery truck makes a U-turn right in front of you. Number 6. It's just a quick trip. Skip the gear. I mean, you don't need protection for short rides around town. The road doesn't care if you're 5 minutes from home or crossing the country. Insurance data shows most motorcycle crashes happen within 6 miles of where the rider started. This makes sense because that's where we spend most of our riding time. All the gear all the time isn't just internet bragging. It's based on real accident statistics. The common excuses like gear is hot, takes too long, or I'm just getting milk, so ignore modern lightweight materials. Mesh jackets with proper armor actually flow more air at 30 miles per hour than a t-shirt does. And modern textile technology uses moisture-wicking fabrics and strategic ventilation panels to keep you cooler than cotton while providing CE-rated impact protection. Kevlar jeans with zippers add maybe 30 seconds to your routine. That's less time than you'll spend bandaging road rash after a 20-mile-per-hour crash. If full racing leathers still seem like overkill for a grocery run, set a personal minimum. Helmet, gloves, ankle-high boots, and an abrasion-resistant jacket. Even basic gear dramatically reduces emergency room bills. You can always add back protectors, airbag vest, or armored pants as your budget allows. Number 5. Night rides are safer because traffic is lighter. Fewer cars on the road means fewer accidents. Traffic volume does drop after dark, but so does every driver's ability to see, including yours. Harley-Davidson insurance statistics show that fatal motorcycle crashes peak between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. This is exactly when drunk drivers are most common and when animals come out to feed near roads. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that nighttime crash rates per mile traveled are 3 times higher than daytime rates for all vehicles, and motorcycles face even worse odds. Glare makes everything even worse. LED headlights in SUVs reflect off helmet visors, creating temporary blindness. Your single headlight can disappear among dozens of car taillights. and many curves don't have reflective paint or reflectors, so reading the road surface becomes guesswork. If you must ride at night, double your following distance compared to the daytime. Slow down by 20% and turn on auxiliary lighting if you have it. Amber lights mounted on your forks help other drivers judge your position, and reflective tape on your luggage glows like runway lights when headlights hit it. This buys you precious milliseconds of reaction time at highway speeds. Number 4. Warm the engine for 10 minutes before riding. Your bike needs a long idle to reach operating temperature. Motorcycles with carburetors from the 1980s needed long warm-ups with a choke on, but fuel-injected bikes built since the late 1990s manage the fuel mixture automatically. All they need is 15 to 30 seconds for oil to start circulating. Beyond that, you're wasting gas, damaging cylinder walls, and annoying your neighbors. Even hardcore motorcycle mechanics suggest idling just long enough to put on your gloves. The better approach is to start the bike, listen for a smooth idle, then ride off gently for the first half mile while keeping the RPMs under 4,000. Actually, riding loads the engine lightly and brings the coolant and oil up to operating temperature faster than sitting still can. This is important for clearing combustion byproducts that otherwise build up in the engine. Thermal cycling under load also helps seat piston rings and valve seats properly, which improves long-term engine performance and fuel economy. One exception is freezing weather. Give an extra 30 to 45 seconds so the fork oil and suspension parts aren't stiff. But if you're regularly idling long enough to check social media, remember that warming up the transmission requires motion, not just engine idling. Number 3. New street tires need 100 miles of scary scrubbing in. Fresh rubber is dangerously slippery until you wear off the surface. Yes, fresh tires might have traces of mold-release chemicals from manufacturing, but modern rubber compounds shed this within a few miles. Continental, Dunlop, and Pirelli technical documents recommend moderate lean angles and gentle throttle for the first 30 to 60 miles. They don't recommend parking lot figure eights or sandpaper scrubbing. Excessive zigzagging actually tears the rubber when it's cold, reducing your ultimate grip. Focus instead on adapting to the new tires. Fresh profiles turn quicker than worn ones, so spend the first ride gradually increasing your lean angles to recalibrate your muscle memory. Avoid sudden throttle cuts mid-corner because oil might not have penetrated all the tire layers just yet. Check the tread afterward. A uniform matte finish means the tire has been heat cycled and is ready for spirited riding. One real danger is sticker glue. Remove all labels completely before mounting the tires. That adhesive patch on a rear tire is slicker than an oil spill when you lean into it. Number 2. Beginners should start on big bikes to grow into them. Learning on a powerful motorcycle prevents having to upgrade later. A 1000cc sport bike makes 160 to 200 horsepower. That's more than a Formula Ford race car, controlled by a throttle lever that moves just a few millimeters. New riders don't have the finesse to control this much power, and electronic riding modes can't change physics once you grab too much throttle in a corner. Even experienced racers admit that 1000cc machines demand serious respect. Smaller bikes teach throttle control, cornering speed, and situational awareness without punishing mistakes at deadly speeds. A 300 to 500cc twin-cylinder bike will easily outrun traffic all day, but it also lets you use full throttle long enough to learn what maximum power feels like. Insurance costs are lower as well, freeing up money for gear and training. Both of these improve your performance more than horsepower does. Entry-level bikes also have more forgiving power delivery curves, progressive throttle response, and lighter weight that makes them easier to handle in parking lots and tight spaces. Now, if your ego objects, remember that Valentino Rossi's first world championship came on a 125cc bike, not a superbike. Master the fundamentals on manageable machinery, and then step up to bigger bikes once you can ride circles around track day instructors. Number 1. ABS and rider aids make you lazy and unsafe. Electronic systems prevent you from developing real riding skills. The data disagrees completely. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety examined tens of thousands of motorcycle registrations and found that bikes with ABS were 22% less likely to be involved in fatal crashes compared to identical models without it. Add traction control, and the risk drops even more. Critics say these systems dull your skills, but in reality, they provide a safety net, not a replacement for good technique. A skilled rider still modulates brake pressure to keep the bike stable, but if gravel or coolant appears mid-braking, ABS reacts faster than human reflexes can. Similarly, lean-sensitive traction control only intervenes when tire slip exceeds the set limit. Ride within the tire's grip and you'll never notice it, until the day you hit a diesel spill in a blind corner. The lazy argument also ignores what adrenaline does to your technique. Many panicked riders forget their training and death grip the brake lever. ABS prevents the wheel lockup that would turn a recoverable swerve into a 55-mile-per-hour slide. The system is like having a riding instructor that never gets tired, watching your technique and stepping in only when physics demands intervention. Replace these myths with habits based on physics, modern engineering, and real crash statistics. You'll ride safer and longer while avoiding terrifying moments that come from following bad advice passed down by well-meaning riders.